Oh, yeah. I want to let that play just for, a few seconds, Ron. Now, Carpenter wrote that music, or at least some of the music, and, he's come out lately with some albums that of just his music, and I need to get them. That's not showing on camera, Kathleen. You need to do a little. You need to get a little more. Yeah, there you go. I think so. But anyway, welcome back, and we have what should be a name that most of the listeners know well, Ron Siegel. Ron Siegel has a show on this network, and we're going to let him tell us all about that. And Ron does loans. I do loans, but I do different kinds of loans. So, Ron, we're not here to talk about me in this half hour. We're here to talk about you. So, anything you want to talk about from the real estate, the lending point of view, what's going on now in your lending world, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
How does that old line go, Jay, that let's not talk at all about me, but what do you think about me?
Yeah.
Something along those.
No, I'm not going to ask you what you think about me. That's no,
That would open up a can of worms, right?
That's
right. So it's a great world out there watching right now. I mean, we're watching a lot of things in real estate. It's a wonderful time to be in the real estate market if you're thinking about buying, selling a house. Selling is a lot easier right now than buying. There's not a lot of inventory around, not a lot of homes available for sale. A lot of the numbers that are coming out from the government standpoints and the different monitors coming out, all showing that home sales are peaking. And
yeah, I've got two neighbors on this block that just put up for sale signs. Now, they've been wanting to get away from me for years, but now seems to be the right time.
Yeah, it's a great time. I mean, and a lot of the news stations just don't cover this in a fair way. And maybe it's because many of them, they look at a headline and don't look any deeper than the headline. So they share information they think is good, but they're really misleading people. For example, on Thursday, we got the pending home sales report, and it says that the home sales were down 2.2% in September. Okay, well, that's okay until you look a little further. You might say, okay, well, sales, and I won't say CNBC had it wrong, but CNBC didn't know what the heck they're talking about again. And they said that home sales are crashing or they're dropping. But here's the fact of the matter that they didn't tell anybody. It's that home sales are up 20.5% year over year. Right?
Yeah.
And that's with inventory being down. Right? So there's nothing to sell. Inventory is down 20% year over year, but sales are up 20.5%.
Wow.
So does that mean that home sales are not good? No, it means that nobody's selling, and for some reason people just want to shelter in place. Not bad, not good. It's just what's happening. And with interest rates at near historic lows.
Right. People want to buy with historic low rates because the price of the property is less.
Yeah, your purchase. You're right, exactly, Jay. The price of the property is less. Purchasing power is significantly higher, and people don't realize that's what's driving this market. I mean, you look at the reports that just came out every Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Freddie Mac releases their mortgage market survey, and being the statistical nerd that I am, I keep track of it, and this week it came out at 2.81% is the Freddie Mac mortgage market survey 30-year fixed rate loan with paying 0.7%. Now, last year, same week, Jay, we were at 3.78.
And we thought that was good, right?
Yeah, I mean, you and I have talked about this many, many times over the years. When I got my first house in the early 80s, I had to put a 1 in front of that 3.78.
Right. I remember when I bought this house that I'm still in, I forgot what the first trust deed was in place already. I forgot what that rate was, but I had a decent sized second at 19.
19%.
Yes.
Yeah. So, when people talk about interest rates, and I hear it all the time with people calling us and when they visit us on our Ron Siegel Radio Facebook page, asking me, they're going to wait until prices come down, right? And you start saying, okay, with a short, just a quick, and again, I'm a statistics nerd, but when you start looking at interest rates this low, it's basic economics 101,
Yeah.
right? When there's high demand and low supply, prices always go up.
Right. You're talking about the cost of a property and people wanting to wait until prices come down. They're down now because unless you're buying for all cash, and that's pretty rare, if you're not
Right.
buying for all cash, then the overall price is probably lower now than if the property, quote, appraised price goes down and rates go up, which will definitely happen sometime. And that now is the time.
Well, here's the quiz. I just gave this to a group of people that I was speaking to this morning. And I said, what is more likely? Is it more likely that interest rates will go up 1% or interest rates will go down 1%? Right? I mean, when you're at a 2.81 interest rate, it's not real likely that they're going to go down 1%. So our risk is for the upside. People don't take action right now, they're going to be missing out.
And because that's the most popular for good reason in the reverse world. But, I'm not afraid at all. Even if rates go up, which they will at some time, the overall is that. What happened? Ron?
I think I'm losing. I don't hear you, Jay.
Yes, can you hear me? Well, I don't know if anybody can hear. I think there's a problem. Here, Ron.
I hear you. I'm with you.
If you can, Ron, that's all we need right now while what's happening to me. I'm talking. It looks like got strong internet right now. Can I say? It's connected via Ethernet, and it looks strong.
You're doing really good, Jay. So,
are we okay now? Okay, Ron, are you okay now?
I'm here, buddy. I'm with you.
All right. Well, sometimes I end up in orbit, and I'm not sure why, but we can't question those things right now. So the internet is just like rates are really low, the internet usage is very high. So even though it says I've got a great connection, and I always connect via Ethernet when I'm doing this, you never know what's going to happen. But go ahead, Ron, where we were taken out, where we were. Sorry for that.
Yeah, no problem. We were just talking. The concept here is just that now is a great time to be buying a home. There's programs out there. One of the other areas that I get all the time, I get questions on, is the concept of what about the ability to come up with a down payment, right? That's the other big question that we hear all the time. And a lot of people think you have to have 20% for a down payment. That's such a misleading number, because no, you don't need 20% for a down payment. Almost anybody that's in the sound of our voice, Jay, can get down payment assistance. So if you're looking at purchasing a home, there's down payment assistance programs that can give you up to $25,000 to help you buy a new home.
I hear that on your commercials, and your commercial is always on my show. So if you just if you were here during the break, you heard the last commercial say Ron is mylender.com. This is Ron. And while we're talking about Ron, go ahead and give all of your contact information while we got a minute.
You can reach me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as you mentioned, Jay, ronismylender.com, ronismylender.com. And we've got, we're obviously we're thrilled that we are on KMET every afternoon from 6 to 7, Monday through Friday. So we're trying to bring some great content to people, great information. And like you, Jay, I'm not here to try and sell anything to anybody. The whole focus of what we want to do is educate people and give them empower them, right? I mean, I was with a group yesterday and we were talking, ironically enough, about reverse mortgages. And it's all about empowering people to have the knowledge and the education to make the best decision for them and their family.
Exactly correct. And I know you have some history in your family with reverse, but again, we do want to talk about what, you and what you have to offer. Are there any great programs you want to kind of espouse?
Well, I always tell people that it's hard for me to really say what is a great program, right? Because I'm a big believer that every program that I've ever come across in almost 30 years of doing this, the programs are never, ever the problem. What the problem is that we have sometimes is people don't use the right program for the right person.
And that's what you're here for.
Right. And that's what we want to do is give people that great information to say, something, is it a stated income loan that's what's right for you? Is it a business owner that is taking every possible tax deduction so they're not documenting a lot of income? They don't want to pay Uncle Sam. Right?
And there is a great variety of loans right now, right? More than we had maybe 10 years ago after the 08 situation.
Yeah, the one right after the debacle in 08, things became way, way too strict.
Yeah, much too tight, and it was crippling. There you are. Now you just moved to Wall Street. Good.
So yeah, it was the loan programs that were out there. I saw that everything was backwards on my background there, but everything what was happening right after the Great Recession is we do this all the time when we get government regulation. Is they try to do great things.
They overdo it. They overdid. They certainly overdid it in this case.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're trying to do what's right for people, and they go too far. And now we've started pulling that back a little bit toward the middle. So the programs where good people are able to get good products that, you got somebody that's got a great business going and they're doing all the right things and they couldn't get a loan if their life depended on it. Well, now they can get that loan again.
Great. That's so many more opportunities for people. In the reverse world, right after the COVID thing hit with all of the, quote, bad news about the economy, our world fell apart. Nobody wanted to make loans. Rates went up even though they didn't need to. Production went down, but that horrible situation only lasted for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and they realized this isn't happening, and it came right back. So,
yeah, the programs are all back. We had for a little while, and I'll share this with you, that most people don't get into the nitty gritty. Back in the beginning of March, interest rates came down so far that the amount of people actually looking for a loan was overwhelming the system. And Jay, you go way back in this and understand.
I go way back. Yes, you remind me all the time on your show.
Right, but you get up doing the industry as a whole, and this is just some more of those numbers, some useless trivia. The industry as a whole does $2 trillion a year in mortgage business.
Yeah.
There was $2 trillion in business done in the month of March. $2 trillion. Yeah. The industry couldn't handle it, so we ended up getting what's called hedging problems. Yeah. And a lot of mortgage companies had, even though they're doing so much business and it was all profitable, that window from the time they did a loan until they closed it was strangling them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things are much better right now. They're much smoother right now. We're getting back to the norm where we're actually able to get things turned around quickly. A 30-day loan is not a problem anymore. Um, the jumbo loans are out there, the FHA loans. Obviously, I know you and I are big supporters of the military. The VA loan is there. It's available right now. So
Absolutely. And
you know,
more people should be taking advantage of. I always say more because I always know no matter how many are, there's always others that are not.
right. Because
And
they don't know that it's
right,
available out there. They don't know that
right,
they can get a loan that are great men and women of the military. They can buy their own home with a smaller down payment than leasing a home.
right, and maybe even no down payment.
That's
But
what I
with
mean.
but with rates where they are now, that payment is very likely to be less than a rental,
Absolutely.
even with no down payment. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful to be able to talk to so many folks and help them out with the dream, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that want to come to this country, and I know we've got all of our quirks and everything, but there's a lot of people that want to come to this country to own the American dream, and that's having your own home.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a lot of ways to help people with it.
And a lot of people think it costs, you got to save money for years before you have a down payment. You've already addressed that. That's not something that should hold you up. And if you're not sure of anything, call Ron. Ron will set you straight. I mean, if you can't get something, then at least know. And if you can't now, at least know when you can, and at least have a plan to get from here to there in a certain amount of time. And that's what good loan officers do, and great ones like Ron do it even better.
Well, here's the thing, Jay, is I shared this with a real estate professional just the other day. My belief is that I'm not going to ever, there's only one time that I'll tell somebody that I can't get them a loan, right? The only time that I can't get somebody a loan is if there's some sort of fraud going on.
Yeah,
Other than that, either we do this loan now or we put together a game plan to do a loan. Right? Sometimes we've just got to help them get their credit report cleaned up.
right.
We might need to show. So I'll give you a quick story, Jay. I had a lady just recently. She just got divorced. Called me up. We ran her credit. Obviously, a lot of people know what happens when you go through divorces. The credit gets shot. Unfortunately, a lot of times the females have it worse because the males have the credit in their name, so the ladies aren't taken care of properly. They trust the husband. I know my wife trusts me. I don't know why. But I'm looking, this lady came to me and she had her FICO score was actually 1 point too low to get a loan. 1 point. So, we spoke with her. We looked at what her scenario was. The biggest issue is she just didn't have credit. So we
Right.
called her mom. Her mom added her as an authorized user on a credit card. Her scores went up 25 points, and she's in escrow today, working on buying her own home for her and her kids.
A lot of people don't understand the credit thing at all, and your credit score can move, and you are in a lot of control of it. You're not in 100% control of it. Some of it has to do with how long you've had your bank, how long you've been affiliated with things. And the only control you can have there is growing old, and that, boy, I got that going. And the other things are making your payments on time, but most people think that's the most important thing, and that just may not be. Making your payments on time over the last couple of years, that really helps. But having that, what I call is the temptation factor. If you've got a line of credit, if you've got a credit card that'll allow you to take 10,000, don't. You need the 10,000, go get 3 or 4 more other cards and put 2,500 on each. That will really help your score. And it doesn't take that long to get back up there.
So I'll give you a quick strategy for credit, and I call this the freezer strategy. So most of us nowadays have a credit card, have a utility, a gas bill, an electric bill, a cell phone bill, an internet bill. So say you've got 4 or 5 utilities. Get 4 or 5 credit cards.
Right, I see where you're going. Yeah.
And put every utility on its own credit card on auto pay.
Yeah.
When the bill comes in, go into your bank, make the automatic payment directly to the credit card, not to the utility, because they're
going to get it. Yeah.
They're going to get it anyway. Put the credit cards in your freezer and don't use them.
Right, but you know what else you're getting? You're getting rewards. Most credit cards give you rewards. And, you know, I don't use Amazon, you know, more than once or twice a day. And I just said, why am I using my debit card? Why aren't I building up rewards with a credit card? So
right, yeah, and you know, we're like you, Jay. We've got I think the Amazon man. When we go out of town, he doesn't know what to do with all of our packages. But we use a Discover card for Amazon because Discover gives us, you know, a few percent back.
Right.
And you get the benefit, and then you can buy more on Amazon. And certain times, I think every quarter they've got a different special. So one quarter a year, I think you get 5% back on your Amazon purchases.
Right. So right now, right after the show is over, whoever you are out there, go on your, unless you're driving, go on your Amazon account and change the way it pays.
Yeah, and just, I mean, can you imagine if you have 5 credit cards, all active, right? Because active is a key component, and you're paying them on time. 6 months from now, I don't guarantee anything, but I'd be willing to bet Jay's Diet Coke or one of Jay's albums that your credit score is going to go up, depending upon where you start at, 20 to 50 points.
Yeah, I mean,
just by following that strategy.
Yeah, and it definitely will. So you're not a slave to your credit score. Now, one thing that Ron is probably too young for, I remember when there were no credit scores.
Wow.
Did you ever do a loan before there were credit scores?
No, I didn't know there was a time there wasn't.
Yeah. And before then, I mean, then Sears was going strong, and everybody that had a Sears account had negatives. So underwriters would pay no attention to Sears negatives. But other than that, it was just, letters of explanation. And of course, every loan officer had 30 or 40 different letters of explanation to fit each little thing. And, reverse mortgage also does not. That's the only loan I know of in this country that does not use FICO scores.
Yeah, they don't. I do know I've done some private money deals. They're more concerned with the asset than they are the borrower.
Yes, because there's always something there that can be fallen back on for protection. So
what those folks are looking at is they're doing usually they want 35 to 40% down payment, and although they don't want to foreclose, they don't have a problem foreclosing because it's
the asset is there. Yeah.
Having.
Right.
So it's the property that's really driving the train there.
Yeah.
So, and it's a lot of creativity, Jay. I mean, I'm sure you know these things, having done this for so long on the forward side. But we've got another lady right now that we're helping that she didn't have much income, right? She just retired, and we had to, I don't call it create income, but we had to document income based on getting a distribution from her retirement accounts, even though they're not qualified. Right. So we're able to, when you understand, and she was turned down by one of the big banks, and I won't say the Stagecoach name, but they turned her down and said, why aren't you paying cash for it? Because she has enough cash that she could buy this house for cash.
What a silly question.
Right.
But that's maybe for a whole other show. But my God. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, but it's frustrating when you hear that when it's people that don't understand. And with one of the things, I mean, I shouldn't say that they're all bad, but here's the issue: is they, instead of saying to this lady, "You don't qualify," they should have said to her, "You don't qualify with us." Right?
Right.
It didn't fit in
Right.
their guidelines.
Right.
Because,
Right.
but you can send her to somebody that has I always talk that people that are in the business that I'm in, we're personal shoppers,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
that's a good way. That's really a good way to put it. Yeah, I like that.
Right? Because we're going out and talking to 35 or
I
40
can use
different
that
vendors.
too, right?
Absolutely.
I have your permission. Good.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But we're going out and talking to 35 or 40 different lenders every single day to see who has the right product for the right person.
Right.
And when you go to a brick and mortar, they only have their product offer. They're not
Right.
studying the market.
That's why it's so much more important, I think, to be using, well, let's say the word broker, the B word,
Yeah.
because you are not more expensive than a direct lender because the direct lender discounts the difference to you. And your advantage is that you can shop so much more for those people.
Well, and something that was one of the things, because you and I have talked about this many times. It fits every part of this industry as well, because at this event I was at last night, they had a gal there that worked for Tom Selleck, right? And my comment to her was, something, I think it's a great company, and we've got them in our quiver, but they're not the right solution for everybody.
Right.
Right. And you've taken some of the people from my show and found that that's not the right answer, but because 4 or 5 or 10 different reverse mortgage suppliers or
Right,
providers,
right.
you can take them to the right person when
Yeah.
it's the right thing.
One thing, and again, I don't want to sidetrack too much on your part of the show, but there's so much flexibility in the reverse mortgage. I just did an application for someone who makes like $1,000 a month on Social Security, but the benefit of the HECM, not that she took out 400,000 or lost that much equity, it's just that was available, it was liquid to her. So that liquid amount divided by the number of months that she's supposed to live gave her $5,000 a month in usable income to qualify for. Amazing.
Well, think about this day and age, right? And it's one of the reasons that I love that product also, because when you're in your golden years, do you really need the stress of finance? And you're just taking that stress right off of people's shoulders. That's one of
Right.
Stress is so detrimental to health.
Right. I think that living in your own home and staying active
Right.
is very, very important. And you know what? It's time for you to give all of your information again, because I don't want the time to go by. It's going by, and everybody they hear your commercials on this station, but that's okay. Go ahead anyway.
It's ronismylender.com. Ronismylender.com. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Happy to help people. And we do free mortgage reviews too.
Sure.
So if somebody just wants to know, am I in the right position? Send a copy of your mortgage statement. There's nothing on your mortgage statement that is not public information. And go to the counter.
Correct.
At that, right? So you can send that to us. We're happy to look at it. If you're in process of looking at a loan with somebody else, God bless you. We're happy to give you a second opinion, just to say,
Right.
you know something, these guys are giving you a great deal. Go with it. Or
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you have a question they can't answer, sometimes I can answer it. I'm not trying to steal their loan.
right.
Because that puts the borrower in a difficult situation, and that's what neither one of us want to do.
Right. No, we're just here to educate people, try and give them the best information. One of the things that you and I are both passionate about, Jay, is we don't want people to be swindled, and we understand that there's some people in different industries that have less than the best reputations.
Right.
And if we can try and police our own industry and make sure that people are getting the product that's right for them,
Right.
the tool that's right for them, whatever we can do to help them.
And like we were talking about before, even if you don't think you can, quote, afford, or don't think you can qualify for, or don't know what to do, call Ron. I'm talking to all of those people, the majority of them, although I'm told that us oldies, like me, are going to be the largest part of our population here soon. But, if you are looking, just questions, call Ron. He's there for you.
More than happy to help any time at all. We've got a team of people that I've got a great team that we work with. I take the initial call. I do it myself. Then I've got a team that helps me from there. And we're just always really happy to make sure that people are positioned properly.
Okay, so I'm told we have only 1 minute to go on this Halloween Eve. That I've got the scariest face. Maybe I don't know. I'm glad you're there too. Oh yeah, we'll take a look earlier. It's not in reach anymore, but I wore a headband with those candies. I love those candies. I always did.
I do too. That's why I've got a whole jar of them here.
All right, have one for me, will you?
Yeah,
I need to gain some of that weight back. You used to say when I was on your show that you and I had both successfully beat diarrhea, but that's not true for me anymore. So I need to fatten up. But Ron, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And everybody out there, remember to call Ron, okay? And have a great Halloween. And remember that Kaplan will be here. Oh, also, don't forget the clocks this weekend. That drives me nuts. I don't know, but we got to mess with the clocks. But in the meantime, remember, Kaplan will be on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week. And have everybody, Sean, Ron, thank you, and especially all the listeners, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.